What's up, everyone? This is the admin of the Chaos Figure page, coming at you with a deck profile for the start of the V series, or standard format, as what people are gonna call it. And I'm coming at you with a clan that I am going to be maining until Link Joker comes out. Yes. So if you guys don't know already, well, I mean, some people have already probably noticed this, or probably, I've seen some of it. So my main clan is Link Joker, yes, but because of these series, uh, standard format, you with the very first set, you only got Royal, Paladin, Kagero, OTT, and Nova Grappler. So I kind of just went with a clan that I've mainly played as my secondary normally, which is Kagero, if you haven't known already. So the one thing about this is that I'm not going to be investing that much in this, like, as much decks. I'm not going to be going in too many decks as I used to. My main focus right now is probably just Kagero and Royals, because, I mean, I got everything for Royals, so I might as well. So whenever Link Joker comes out, I'm just going to, go into that, but otherwise, I'm just sticking with Kagero and Royal Paladin. And my friends will probably just, play according to what clan they like. So yeah, so while we're getting started, I'll give you guys I'm gonna go over some deck profile stuff, or the deck profile on this. So yeah, so the main important thing is, because I'm playing a Kagero deck, you do need your force markers. So I will say, if you're playing any standard format deck, it's always best to have at least, I would say, 10 gift markers for your clan, no matter what. I have a ton, so I have a ton of these, but yeah, as a good minimum, I would say always have at least 10, because in the rules, you will get penalized if you do not bring enough with you in, like, say, a regional setting. So it's always good to have multiples. If you bought V series and stuff like that, the upcoming sets, you'll get more. You'll have chances to get more gift markers, even though they're common or something like that. But each, like for this one of these packs will contain a force marker, a protect marker, an excel marker, and from what it looks like, every set will contain at least one of each, because each clan, almost every clan in itself will have, or every box or every set will have at least one of each, or possibly two. So yeah, so let's just get started with the deck profile without me rambling so much. So yeah, so besides having the force markers, my Kagero deck so my starter is Lizard Runner Undu. There's really no other starter. All the standard starters are literally when something rides over it, you draw a card. So it's kind of like it's pretty much the only starter you're going to be running. If some people are going to ask, I'm pretty sure some people will ask why my starter looks a little bit weird. It's because this starter is from the Kagero demo deck that I got in regionals. I like the background, the red background. Makes it easier for me to see when I, have to search for my starter and everything. So yeah, so that's my starter. I am running a 8 crit 4 draw 4 heal version of this deck. I found that 8 crit 4 draw 4 heal is a really, really good number. There's really no point in running the 7 crit 5 draw in standard format, because the 5k guard from the draw trigger, while yes, you get 10k power, the 5k guard is really detrimental, and it really does suck. So yeah, so I'm running 4 of the Embodiment of Spirit Tar, really, really, iconic critical trigger. 4 Rakshasa, another, really old iconic critical trigger. 4 of the Wyvern Guard Bari. So this is the new thing where our new perfect guards are also draw triggers too. So we do also have grade 1 perfect guards, but we have the option to run draw trigger perfect guards in standard. And from what I've tested so far, draw trigger perfect guards are pretty good in this set, in this format, because why wouldn't you? So, at the very least, with draw trigger perfect guards, you're not really negging yourself from hitting a draw trigger, um, because you know it's a PG on top, so it helps out. And because it's Weapon Guard Bree, I mean, it's the only draw trigger PG we currently have. The other one, the grade 1 PG we have is the Guard Griffin, which is part of the trial deck, if you don't know, or the demo deck, if you have the demo deck. So yeah. And then to round it off with the grade 0s, I'm running 4 of the Genjos, Dragonmon Genjos. Again, if you're wondering how come I have these weird back coloring triggers, demo deck. I prefer the demo deck triggers. They just look nice, just easier to kind of notice in comparison to the regular stuff. I mean, I just prefer the art, the red background, so yeah. Some people prefer the trial deck one, but sometimes it's like, personal preference. So yeah, so let's start from grade 3s after the triggers. So my main grade 3 is Draconic Overlord from the trial deck. Yes, I know one's signed, the rest isn't, but I'm not going to go through all that just to get a signed, or get 3 signed Draconic Overlords. They do look nice. So the thing with standard format is it's a lot bit different. Pertaining to the new rules, when you ride to your grade 3, you get your imaginary gift if they have the gift marker, which is up here. If they do not have a gift marker, you do not get any imaginary gifts. So that's kind of the one thing. So pretty much when you ride him, you get a force marker on one of either your rear guard circles or your vanguard circles. Majority of the time, you will put this on a vanguard circle. When you ride Draconic Overlord, majority of the time, about 95%, 98% or so, you'll always put this on the vanguard circle because you want to plan ahead, and planning ahead goes towards your next grade 3, which I will go over in a little bit. So another thing is that with Draconic Overlord, you want his number to be as high as possible, because at that point you're forcing your opponent to either PG it or drop their hand just for it to not hit. So if you don't know what he does, what he does is once per turn you can Soul Blast 1 if he's on the Vanguard or Rearguard circle, it doesn't matter which one. It'll get 10k for the entire turn. Second effect, once per turn on the Vanguard circle, when its attack hits anything, it doesn't matter what, you can counter blast 1, pitch 2 cards from your hand, restand this unit, -1 drive. So you can hit a rear guard. If you hit, you can counter blast 1 and pitch 2 and restand for a 1 drive, or you can hit the Vanguard, and if it does hit, you can have the possibility of restanding. You can use his effect in tandem with the imaginary gift. You can actually swing for 33k on his own. That's the other thing different with the power-wise. Oh yeah, and I forgot the trigger power-wise. So the difference in triggers is that the heal triggers are 20k now, criticals are 15s, and stuff like that. For the guard potential, the trigger potentials are 10k now. If you hit those triggers, the 10k boosts. So yeah. So the thing with Overlord is that it's just a double swing for Vanguard. It makes your opponent guard a lot, and I mean, yes, they can PG it and everything, but now they won't always have the PG. So it's really, really threatful in its own specific way. So that's why. He's your lead up to what your next grade 3 is. Always ride him first if you can. Even if you can't, it doesn't really matter, because your next grade 3 is still pretty good as an alternative ride, even though you won't be able to pull his second effect off until you have another grade 3. So the next grade 3 I'm running is 4 Draconic Waterfalls. So this is your alternative grade 3 for standard, mind you. It has a really good effect. So one, it has the force marker, so when you ride him, you put another force marker on the Vanguard circle. So it's very important because of what he does, that you stack your force marker on the Vanguard circle. Your rear guards are going to hit high anyways, so there was really no point in giving your rear guards the force markers. Only a rare bit of times will you ever put it on the rear guard circle. Majority of the time you're going to aim for ending your opponent with either Draconic Overlord or your first waterfall. So usually your second waterfall you'll definitely win, more than likely, because of his effect. So the first effect is when placed On the Vanguard circle, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rearguard and retire it. Emphasize on greater, because people got it confused where it's grade 2 or less. It only works on grade 2 or greater cards. Now, the second effect. So when this declares an attack, you can Soul Blast a grade 3, and if you do, until the end of that battle, he himself will get 10,000 plus a critical and the ability to restrict your opponent from using Sentinels against you. So this actually stops all draw PGs, grade 1 PGs. It also stops protect markers, protect gifts, because they all contain the word Sentinel. Usually, by the time you ride Waterfall over Overlord, Waterfall by himself, if you stack all the gift markers on him, will swing for 43k to crit with no PGs, and that results in them having to literally drop a lot of hand, and it is really detrimental if you think about it. If you play the number games and with it, you can see that it is, it does cripple your opponent hard, and especially if it cripples your opponent's PGs from not being used, it makes it harsh. This is also why you want to stack your force markers on the Vanguard circle, because the higher the number, the more cards they have to commit down to the board to guard, because they can't PG it. So yeah, that's why you always want to stack the force marker on the Vanguard. So even if you have to ride, say, Overlord over another Overlord and then into Waterfall, that's essentially 3 force markers on the Vanguard for your Waterfall turn, and your Waterfall turn is essentially your kill turn. A lot of times. You only ever want to Waterfall your opponent if they're at 4 damage. A lot of times if they're below that, you want to just pressure with Overlord, so then that way, you can hit that 4th damage, and then you can just ride Waterfall to try to end the game next turn, as long as they didn't heal. So yeah, so that's my grade 3. Going to my grade 2s, I am running 4 of the new Berserk Dragon. So what his first skill is, counterblast 1, when placed on either Vanguard or Rearguard circle, counterblast 1 Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, retire it, so it targets anything and kills it. Second part of the effect is that if it's on the Vanguard circle, you can draw 1. So you could technically just ride Berserk Dragon, and even if your opponent has no rearguards to retire, you can still pay the cost of counterblast 1 Soul Blast 1 to just draw an extra card. The second effect is actually really good because it makes him, so when it attacks the Vanguard, if you have more rearguards than your opponent, this unit gets plus 3k. So it becomes a 13k attacker as long as you have more rearguards, which I mean, with being a retired deck and all, it's going to swing for 13k majority of the time. So you run 4 of it no matter what. He's a really good retiring grade 2 in this deck. You'll notice something that I'll mention at the end when I go over all my grade 2s. So I do run 4 of the Dragon Armor Knight. These are from the trial deck, not the demo deck. So what this thing does is when it attacks the Vanguard, if your opponent has 3 or less rearguards, this unit gets plus 5k until the end of that battle. So it's a 15k attacker, combos really well with certain grade 1s to make it 28k lines or 26k lines depending on the situation. So power lines is an important thing, and you kind of want to have enough power to kind of overpower, to just, overwhelm your opponent a bit. Make him not guard or something like that. Because not a lot of people will want to guard a lot, especially if you're swinging straight up 28k to like their 13k or 12k, they have to commit a 20k guard instead of a 15 and stuff like that. So it's really important. Now the last grade 2s I'm running is a 3 Spillover Dragon. Now people are going to ask me why I'm not opting to run the trial deck Nahom, which is a counterblast 1, kill, essentially retire a back row rearguard, and then gain 5k. So my only problem with Nahom is that there have been matches where my opponent would have no rearguard in the back, and Nahom would just be a really, really dead card no matter what happened. So in comparison to Nahom, Spillover Dragon also does something better over Nahom. So Spillover Dragon helps with soul. Now the main problem with this deck is that there really isn't that much soul between using the few cards that I have. Between Berserk Dragon, Dragonic Overlord, and then one of the grade 1s that take a soul on top of a counterblast. Now the difference is that with Spillover Dragon, he goes into Soul himself. So his effect is at the end of the battle that it attacked a Vanguard while boosted. Counterblast 1, put this unit into your Soul, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guard, and retire it. So the thing with this card is that because of its effect, you boost an attack. At the end of the battle, you would just counterblast 1, shove it into Soul, and just obliterate a rear guard in the back. So your main focus is to obliterate the front row, and then poke out the back row with Spillover. And resource-wise, it's not that bad with Counterblast because you do have a little bit of countercharging for this deck on the terms of running, say, running Airmo in here. Airmo comboing with Spillover is pretty good because you combo, so you go boost an attack for 21 because of Airmo's skill. 21, then you go Spillover skill, Counterblast 1, shove into Soul, retire a unit, then Airmo skill, retire itself, countercharge 1, draw a card. So you essentially get a 1 draw off of this, and you get a retire off of it for a free counterblast, essentially, which is really good because, you know, you start whittling down your opponent's rear guards and stuff, and it's kind of like, it's a really important factor with this deck. Now, for the rest of the grade 1s, I am running 4 of the Embodiment of Armor Bar. What he does is counterblast when placed, counterblast on rear. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards in the same column as this unit, retire it, and if you have more rear guards than your opponent, this unit gets plus 5k. So it's a 1 card, it kills one specific card from a column that it's called on, and, you know, it helps with just, you know, getting rid of rear guards. But again, Soul is still an important issue that this deck has a problem with, and that's where Spillover comes in over Nahalem. Because Nahalem doesn't give you Soul, Spillover does, and Spillover has more utility for the deck, I feel. So that's why I'm running it that way. And then to keep going on the grade 1s, I am running 4 Lizard Soldier Ropia. Yes, this is the old art, but this is the new card, the new version of it. So what it does on Vanguard and Rearguard Circle is that when your opponent's rearguard is retired during your turn, this unit gets 5k. It's stackable. So if you have this, and say you used Bar, you used, or you know, Berserk Dragon, or whatever, or Waterfall, or whatever, it'll get 5k constantly, or it'll just stack up those 5ks, which is really good because then you make your rows hit harder, which is, you know, the thing that you want to do now. You want to hit as high numbers as you can, which is really good. And then to round up my grade 1s, I'm running 2 of the Dragon Monk Gojos from the trial deck, and what he does is he's just an 11k booster as long as you have more rear guards than your opponent. This mainly is for the waterfall play, so then say that you rode 2 Dragonic Overlords and then one waterfall, that would make a 30k force on top of the 13, which is 43, then plus 10k off of his effect, which is a 53, and then you use Gojo, which is 64, and 64 is a lot of big numbers. The other thing is you can go, say, even with 2 force markers, 20k plus 13, 33, and then add his own 10k, 43, 54k. And it's still a pretty big number either way. You want a consistent 10k, or not 10k, 11k booster no matter what happens, because in that way you force your opponent to throw out more hand guards. Both Gojo and Airmo kind of do exactly the same thing of being an 11k booster. So that's kind of why you're running that. So yeah, that's all I have for this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be doing my Royal Paladin one. I will have that sooner or later up, and yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you think what you think about this deck, because this is what I am currently running in Standard, and it has actually been working really well with how I've been playing, and haven't had much trouble with this deck. So yeah, hope you all have a great day, and this is the admin of the Chaos Breaker signing off.